Class that I think we'll ever see. The class that's really going to change the world, the class of 2020. I want to share a message with them. And my message to them is what I've learned in my years is that when people are protesting, they're protesting for change that they want to see. But the part that hurts me the most is sometimes we're protesting for the change to the people who don't understand, to the people who don't want to listen, or even the people who just disagree with what we want. So your protest doesn't necessarily have to be only standing together in solidarity outside. Your protest needs to be putting yourself in position to make that change. You need to be that DA. You need to be that senator. I want to see you as that Pete Harkham. I want to see you as that Dr. Mauricio, school superintendent. I want to see you as that Rodney Arthur, the black principal of a high school. I want to see you as that Rainey, the black mayor of your cities. I want to see you as that Stacey Petrara. I want to see you working at the Hudson Valley Healthcare. I want to see you making that change that we're protesting for. So when we protest, we know that you're listening. We know that you're going to do something. In the early 60s, we saw people standing and protesting because they wanted an opportunity to vote. And the thing that hurt was they wanted to vote for people that they didn't even know were going to represent them. We just wanted to have a voice. Now we want to be a voice. Now we want to have a voice, but we want to be the voice. So when we're voting for people who really understand. Today is the day that I want us to leave with the message that before we do anything, we're going to heal each other. So when we protest and we get out there and fight for what's right, we do it strategically, because the war isn't for slavery anymore. The war isn't for rights anymore. The war is psychological now. And I want to make a stance today because there's some people in my community right now who claim themselves as activists. I have a message for you too, and for the people who stand with them. If you're standing next to a black man or a black woman, and that black man or black woman tells you, we ain't gonna ever be nothing because the white man's in control, disassociate yourself from that man, because he's bringing us back just as far as his racist cops. Amen. You can't tell me that we can't do something. You can't tell me that we can't be something. 400 years ago, what you see right now, 400 years ago was not even a thought. An African-American mayor leading the city, gathering people together, all facets of the world coming together to listen to people in this community. As an African-American man, you can't tell me that my people aren't strong. You can't tell me that my people aren't powerful. My people aren't ready to change the world. But it has to start here now. The new war is here now. Once you believe in yourself, you'll change the way you do things. You'll change the way you eat. You'll change the way you think. You'll change the way you conduct yourself. You'll change the way you carry yourself. You'll change the way you look at your own people. When we talk about the police injustice and the police brutality, I want to say one last thing. Don't let the media confuse you. Don't let your national leaders confuse you with your local leaders here in the city of Peekskill. Don't let the media confuse you with the way they're protesting in Minneapolis because they're hurt. I understand it, but I don't condone it at all. But don't let them confuse you, because that's not how we protest in the city of Peekskill. And importantly, don't let the media make you think that the police in Minneapolis are the police right here in the city of Peekskill. One of the first things that we decided to do when I took office was to build a relationship with our police department and our first responders. And I'll tell you the God's honest truth, at 2 o'clock in the morning, if something happens in the city of Peekskill, this police chief will text me or call me and let me know so I am aware. Because we know that we have to work together to address these issues. When we leave here today, to all of the people that want to do something, that want to be involved, let George Floyd be the reason you don't give yourself an excuse not to be involved anymore. And for the people who know the history, let Emmett Till, let Sandra Bland, let these people be the reason that you no longer give yourself an excuse to not be involved anymore. And to all of my people who are faith leaders, who may have had a bad history or a bad past, let this be the reason that you get past that and step up to the plate now. Join a board. Join the NAACP. Join the Human Relations Commission. Run for office. Be an officer. Be a chief of police. Create a task force for your community. Do something other than make excuses for yourself or why you shouldn't be doing something. That's the real justice. That's the real justice, because we all know, no justice. God bless you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce our New York State Senator, Rocah.
Let's hear it for Mayor Andre Rainey. This mayor has done more to unify the city of Peekskill than anyone I have seen in my 20 years in Westchester. He's wise beyond his years, yes, and he deserves every ounce of support that we can give him. Mayor Rainey, thank you for everything you do. Look at this crowd. I have been going to 2 rallies, sometimes 3 rallies a day since George Floyd's death, and every time the crowds are bigger and bigger and bigger because our consciousness is growing. Give yourself a hand. And I too want to thank the police chief for being here, because although we have seen horrible images of police misbehavior, we've got to understand that there are good cops, there are good police departments who are sensitive and care about our communities, and we thank them for their service. But as a white man, I have to listen. I have to be open. This last week I have heard from constituents, from colleagues, from young people, the rage, the anger, the hurt, and I need to listen to that. And those of us who are white, we must acknowledge that there is systemic racism in our society. We see it in education, we see it in healthcare, we see it in housing. It permeates throughout our society, and we need to be accountable. And so this week, the Senate and the Assembly are going back to Albany, and you will see sweeping changes this week. Sweeping changes. But I want to emphasize what the mayor said. We need to hold elected officials accountable. So those of you who haven't voted, you need to vote. For young people, you need to vote. I see the numbers. I know who votes. Young people do not vote. If you are angry today, be angry on primary day. If you are angry today, be angry in November and hold people accountable. Support candidates who support you and vote out people who are not accountable. Vote. And so with that, I go back to listening. It's good to see Dr. Mauricio, who students have been so remarkable. In fact, it's having town hall next week. Peekskill is a remarkable community. And if other communities could see the diversity here and to see how this is working, thousands of people together, hand in hand, love, tolerance, hope, acceptance, and vote. Thank you. God bless you.
George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. It feels so good to see everybody saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, County Legislator Colin Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to be here. It's encouraging, it's amazing to see how many people have showed up today to support these protests, to support the call for transparency, the call for accountability, and the call for an end to the institutional and structural racism that is destroying our communities of color. So if you're here today, give yourselves a hand, because that's why we're really here today. like most of us here, I've been having many conversations, particularly over the last couple of weeks, about these issues. And I'm tired of having these conversations. It's time for change. And it's time, as Senator Harkin said, it's time for you to hold us, your elected officials, accountable to make sure that change happens. That's why you elected us. That's why we're in the positions we are in, is to do the right thing, right? Is to make sure that the right changes take place and that our communities of color are no longer the targets of the systemic brutality by this system that for centuries has demolished us, has destroyed us. I apologize if I'm ranting today. I'm feeling very emotional over the recent events of the last couple of weeks, and just today or just last night there was another incident here in Westchester County where there was a police-involved shooting. We don't know all the facts yet, so I'm not going to draw any conclusions or make any statements on that. But in the midst of everything that is going on, we see that we are still having to deal with these issues. So if you're here today, give yourselves a hand. Black Lives Matter. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Representing our school district, our school superintendent, Dr. Mauricio, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Peekskill residents from this great county. It is so great to see people. It is so wonderful to see you all here today. I really didn't know what to expect, but let's give our mayor, Andre Rainey, a big round of applause for putting this together. I'm honored here. I'm with my board president, Maria Pereira, who's here. I know Miss Branwood McDonald is here. Sam North is here. Alan Jenkins is here. Pamela Holman Johnson is here. Michael Simpson is here. Jillian DeLon would be here, but she had a health scenario, so she couldn't be here. Let's give our Board of Education a big round of applause, and I'll tell you why. And this young lady came up to me. She didn't know who I was, and I just met her. I'm going to have her wave. She has voter application in English y en español. Tenemos que votar. We have to vote. We have to vote for the school budget, whatever way we vote. We have to vote in elections, in primary elections, in every election. And I'm going to end with this. Our young people, let's give it up to our young people who are here today. Our young people, they listen to what we say. They watch what we do. And they measure our hearts based on what comes out of our mouths and whether our actions are aligned with our hearts. And so we as adults have to turn the conversation, and we're doing this, and I thank Mr. North, who's over here, our board member, who's pulling together students from Ossining City School District and Peekskill City School Districts. Our elected officials will be there. Mayor Rainey will be there. Senator Harkin will be there. Other individuals will be there, not to just listen, but our students will control the dialogue, give suggestions, give their inputs, and then the elected officials will say what they will do about it. And so I'll be watching you join us 5 o'clock next Friday. Thank you, Mr. North. Thank you, City of Peekskill. And God bless the greatest school district, Peekskill City Schools, and the greatest city, Peekskill City. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy, for your leadership. Next up, Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins is here, ladies and gentlemen. Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Wait. We're out trying to make sure that Black Lives Matter. Good afternoon. Certainly between the county executive and myself, we've been working extremely hard on the things that we can do. First, I want to remind everyone, let's give it up again for your mayor, Andre, Rainey, all the whole team, making sure that we all get it together. Dr. Mauricio said something. Mayor Rainey said something. You know something? Right now, this very second, Senator Hawkins said it, right this second, y'all have ballots in your hand. Make sure you vote. Right now. There's no excuse. You have your school board elections going on right now. I think you need to bring your ballot in by like 5 o'clock on Monday. Is that right, Dr. M? On the night, 5 o'clock. Make sure you bring that in because that makes a difference. And I know because I get the numbers every day. Peekskill is in the top 3, but in the wrong reason for the census. Y'all need to fill out that census because if you don't do that, part of the things we're talking about just doesn't happen. I remind people all the time, and thank you for those of you that participated with Legislator Smith last night with the panel that we had with over 100 people on the video conference to deal with. I remind people, yes, I am an African American man. Yes, I was the president of NAACP. But first, before that, I was the son of a police officer. A son of a New York City police officer. So when I look around, I know what he came home with. I know what he was trying to make sure that we had things happen. I can tell you everyone in the community that's standing here right now that had to have the talk. Did you have the talk? That said, if something happens with the police, you listen to them first and ask questions later. You make sure you put your hands above the steering wheel. That was my father who was a cop telling me to make sure to do that. When I listened to Mayor Lance Bottoms in Atlanta saying as powerful as she is, she made a phone call to her 18-year-old son and said, son, I need you to come home because I can't protect you. I'm the mayor of this city, I can't protect you. We need to do better. And that's why we're all going to continue not to just talk and rally, but make sure that we're making a difference by taking care of different things. Taking care of the training that we do at the county. And yes, there is training that happens at the county at the base level of training for police officers. But then they come back out to the street. And as I said earlier today, we found out of the 4 former officers, 2 were on the job for less than a week. That means something else is going wrong with the training. And we know, yes, if people get the information, we know Senator Hawkins and the Assembly folks are going to take care of repealing 50A on Monday. County Executive Lattimore has formed a task force. That task force is going to look at the training for all of the county departments to see what things we can do and lessons we can learn and implement. And then we're going to follow that up with making sure that we're having conversations through our Human Rights Commission throughout the county to make sure that every day Black Lives Matter. Every day. I am the second in command in this county. And if I walk into a store, somebody still might follow me around. That's in 2020. We need to make sure that we are taking this opportunity and we are not wasting it. We're not just coming out to rallies, we're going to make permanent change. Because again, our police departments all around the county, and whether it's Peekskill or anywhere else, 99% are in the right place of frame of mind. But we need to make sure we're supporting them so when they need and they find a bad police officer, they can get rid of that bad police officer. That they don't have unions blocking that particular thing. Because every union comes when they talk to us, they tell us all the time, we don't want bad police officers. All right, great, we're gonna do that. Because just like you have a bad bus driver, just like you have a bad limo driver, just like you have bad politicians, guess what? Get rid of them and make sure that we're doing the right thing. We gotta keep working together. So I'm gonna step back, listen, and we wanna make sure that Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. One more time, Black Lives Matter. Next up, the Peekskill NAACP President, Ms. Valerie Eaton.
No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. I can't do anything but reiterate what everybody else said. My duty today was to tell you that you need to contact your legislators in this county and tell them to repeal 50A. If you don't know what that is, because many of you, lo siento, mi llama es Valeria Eaton. This is for everybody. Everybody. You have to fight, because when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. There is a way to fight, my people, and that is the way they just said. You must vote. If you don't know what to do, and if you don't know what's at stake, go to our website, peekskillnaacp.org. If you don't find it there, you let me know. peekskillnaacp@gmail.com. It is up to you to make a difference, not just here, because we are a model community, are we not? We are a model community where other people will watch us and see what we're doing. This is beautiful. Do not be complacent. Do not turn the other cheek. We are not thugs. We are not animals. We are people that want the same thing you want. I'll say it again. The system is not broken. The system is set up to be just what it is today. You have got to change what the system is doing to us today. If you look to your left or you look to your right, and you don't ever find another white or black person again, introduce yourself from a distance. You need to know more than just what you represent. Children, youth, teach the parents, because some parents are slaves in their own minds. We need equality, and we need it now. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Fight right.
Strong black woman right there, y'all. It's a very strong black woman, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, music legend, Ray Blue.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. What we have is a movement. We have come together collectively. This is an American movement. We're supported by people in many other countries. Spain, Germany, France, Israel, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Austria. And I'm waiting to hear about some more. We don't drop the ball. I have two things to say today. One, I'm going to reiterate that it's important that we connect with organizations. The success of this movement, and this is a very powerful movement, is organization and strategy. Connect with an organization. The second thing is, we're in this for the long haul. This is not a short-lived movement. It's not finished in 1 week or 2 weeks. This is our lifestyle now. This is how it works. the Montgomery bus boycott took almost 390 days before it worked. They did not stop. We've had movements in our own community. We've had riots in our own community. All of it about people feeling tired of not being treated as a human being. The people are the government, and our government takes care of the people. The people are the government, and the government takes care of the people. We deserve good things. Every individual deserves good things. Lastly, we have zero tolerance for what is not right. Zero tolerance. We do it in a smart way, in a collective way. We use our intellect. I tell my music students, you bring your A game. People see you before they hear you. Your image, the image that we have, that's the first impression. And that's the most powerful impression. We bring our A game every time. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. God bless the movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bring forth to you the one and only Jeffrey Deskovich, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Jeff Deskovich, a name well known here in Peekskill. I grew up here in Peekskill. As people know, I spent 16 years in prison on a murder and rape, which I did not commit, caused in large part based upon a coerced false confession obtained from the Peekskill Police Department right here. I did 16 years from age 17 to 32, and then DNA demonstrated my innocence, and the actual perpetrator was caught, and I was released on actual innocence grounds. I graduated law school last May. And I can't forget the people I metaphorically left behind. I have to tell you that when it comes to a coerced false confession, when it comes to police brutality, when it comes to unjustifiable deadly police force, when it comes to police using unreliable identification procedures, when it comes to withholding evidence of innocence, it all has that commonality of police misconduct. I'm with a coalition group called It Can Happen to You. We struggled for 8 years and we were able to pass some changes in the law in Albany. We passed the Oversight Board for Prosecutors, the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct. We helped pass changes in discovery, sharing of information between the prosecution and the defense. Speaking of that commissioner, Senator Harkin, please take our words back to the legislature. We need the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct to be repassed. We need oversight of law enforcement. Prosecutors, district attorneys are part of that. I want to share very briefly some tactics that we can all do. Whether it's learning more about the issues, whether it's sharing the information, joining as a volunteer in nonprofit entities, volunteering some of your time, donating a little bit of your means, signing a petition, contacting your elected official, giving memorandums of support, registering people to vote, making sure you're registered, voting yourself, running for office. When people engage in rioting, in vandalism, in violence, the criticality of the change necessary in criminal justice reform, it gets wiped out. That message gets lost, and it's not about the original issues anymore. It's too easy for the conversation to get shifted. That's why I'm so happy that here at Peekskill, that has not been what's happened. My message to law enforcement, and I've been blessed twice a year for the last 6 years to be brought into police academies and speak about my story and share some best practices so that misconduct doesn't happen, so that other false arrests that lead to wrongful convictions don't happen. My message to law enforcement is this. To be a police officer is a very dangerous job. It's a very courageous job. It's an extremely necessary job. I understand that when you go to work, you never know if you're coming back. That's all true. And when a police officer is beat up, when a police officer is killed, that's horrendous. You see the police out in large force, lots of people, and that's exactly as it should be. That's horrendous. That's the worst possible thing. But where is all of that when it's police brutality? Where's all of that when a civilian is victimized by unjustifiable deadly police force? Because as long as one thing is important and the other one is not, there's going to be that divide that we see going on here. And so my message to all law enforcement, especially those that are here, the honest police officers, turn on the ones who are dirty in your profession. Turn on them. Blow the whistle. Speak up. Force them out. Rebuild community relations. And everybody here, vote. 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 Who's in office matters. Speaking of who's in office matters, I want to ask another person to speak who's running for district attorney, a former prosecutor of 16 and a half years, is concerned about criminal justice reform, and she would like to speak on that as a member of law enforcement. Mimi Rocah, please come up and speak.
Thank you. And you guys, I want to tell you something. Jeff was my student at Pace Law School. I had the honor of teaching him. And he was a damn good student. I couldn't be prouder of him and the work that he's doing. You guys, I became a prosecutor 20 years ago because my mother was the victim. I became a prosecutor 20 years ago because my mother was the victim of a violent rape. And I wanted to help victims. And you know what? That includes people who are victims at the hands of the police. In fact, when police officers or prosecutors abuse the public trust and commit crimes, brutality, or corruption, they must be held to an even higher standard because they are there to serve us, you. So, my message to my partners in law enforcement has been and is now, if you're not part of the solution to this broken system, then you are not if you are not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. How do we get from this rally to real justice? We elect prosecutors, we hold district attorneys, police officers, police chiefs to standards to not take money, not take campaign donations from police unions. That's right. Prosecutors should not do that. Prosecutors must be transparent. They must pledge to pursue police corruption with the same vigor that they pursue any other case. That's the kind of change we need to move from a rally to real justice. So law enforcement, if you're listening, be part of the solution. If you're not acting, you're part of the problem. Thank you.
We're gonna hold you to that. One more time, everybody. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. God, it feels so good to hear everybody say that. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schleifer.
Thank you, Mayor Rainey. Thank you, everyone. I see so many great friends here. Saw Vivian, saw Drew, saw Ted Bitter, and so many other friends. And I'm so glad we're all here because there is nothing to be self-evident. He said all men are created equal, but we know he didn't mean it. And we had to have 500,000 Americans die 100 years later to try to fight that battle and make the promises of this Constitution real for everybody in this country. And when the Union Army left the South, we had 100 more years of oppression and vote denial and racism from our country. So I'm here to tell you, we have not done enough. We have not redeemed the unmet promises of our Constitution, and we got to do a lot better. Now let me tell you something. I came as a prosecutor, just like Mimi just said, the same job. My boss, my mentor, was a man named Lawrence Middleton, my hero. He prosecuted the police officers who beat Rodney King in Los Angeles. So what I want to tell everybody is that there is a role for justice done the right way. For justice that means true equality and protection for everybody. That means enforcing the Constitution when police officers overstep. That means enforcing the Constitution when they do more than overstep, when they commit murder. Because what George Floyd showed was that that was murder. That was murderers in a uniform. And we have to stand up to that. We have to stand up for that in the federal government and say, we will not take that. I see everybody here today, and this is a story of hope. In this entire district, we have everybody coming together. White, black, brown, everything. I gotta tell you, there's nothing more inspiring. Young people speaking their minds and leading, as we heard earlier, leading, as Valerie said, and teaching the older generation where they need to go too. Now let me tell you something else. My grandparents came here after being enslaved by the Nazis. Every single one of their family members, all 80 except one, was murdered for who they were. And they came to this country in 1947 seeking equality and justice and a fair chance at the American dream. And the reason they pursued and they achieved that American dream is because they knew in this country it would be different. In this country, they could get an education, which they never got. In this country, they could get a fair economic opportunity that they never got. In this country, they could be treated equally, which they never were. That promise that was redeemed for them in this country alone has not been redeemed for our black and brown Americans. Until everybody in this country knows that the American dream is a potential reality, that they're going to get a fair chance, that they don't have to walk around and feel like this is somebody else's country, because it's not, because it's all of our countries. And until everybody feels that, we're not going to get anywhere. So we need people who understand that and will make that a reality. And I am so excited to fight for all of you and make sure that that happens here. Thank you all very much for showing up.
At this time, I'd like to share with you and hear from probably one of the most important voices we'll hear from today, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Smithson. Please come on down. Make him feel comfortable, y'all. Please clap it up and make him feel comfortable, y'all.
So, as the mayor just said, my name is Justin Smithson, and I just want to talk a little bit about why I'm here and why I protest. I'm not here just because of George Floyd. I'm here because of the hundreds of African American men and women who have been victims of police brutality. Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, and countless others that I don't even know the names of. There's so many people who have been victims of police brutality and so many people who don't care. And that's just disgusting. How can you not care that someone is beaten or even killed by someone who's supposed to protect them, protect and serve? It doesn't make sense. See what I'm wearing right now? I'm wearing a pride shirt because it's Pride Month. Because all Black lives matter. Not just cisgender Black lives, not just straight Black lives. Every single Black life matters. And if you're not here fighting for every single Black life which can be taken just because of their skin color, then you shouldn't be here. Thank you. That's all.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin McDonald. Martin McDonald.
Good afternoon. Peekskill. I am here. I gotta say, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was not gonna say anything. I'm not here representing the Peekskill NAACP. I'm here representing Martin McDonald, a Black man. And Black lives do matter. What I'm afraid is starting to happen right now is that this is becoming more platitudes. This is just an opportunity for people to talk to you rather than do something when they may have the power to do something and they're not doing it. Don't be fooled. You gotta hold people accountable. Just because they get up here and they sound good, because they're running for office or they're about to do something, that's not what this is. This is about Black Lives Matter, racism, the pandemic of racism that Black people have been living with for all of our lives. This is about calling out the injustices that happen around the world, around the country, but right here in Westchester as well. Talking about Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., who was killed by police officers, nothing happened. Dan Roy, DJ Henry, innocent student who was killed and nothing happened. And then we got an officer right here in Peekskill who did something that we know is a violation, sexually harassing a resident here in Peekskill, and he still got a job. No, Black Lives Matter. He's got to go. Frederick Douglass said it best. Frederick Douglass said it best. I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to look back at history and see where we're at. There is no progress without a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. We have to demand right now, if you're with me, we got to demand that this cop lose his job.
Get rid of it.
He lose his job.
Get rid of it.
We talk about other policemen losing their jobs. Don't get up here and fall for the nice words and the talk. No, action. We're in a moment right now that demands action. We have to make the demands. We can't wait for somebody to do something and we don't tell them what they have to do. If they can't make it happen, they gotta go. No justice. No justice. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
No justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter.
Wow, wow, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mondaire Jones.
Black Lives Matter was a theme that was created under the Obama presidency. So where have we come? Where the same thing continues to happen and where Black people like me are constantly re-traumatized because of the images on television and the stories that we read about from all across these United States of America. We have got we have got to do better than the status quo. And I'm grateful for the comments of Mr. McDonald, because I thought to myself, you know, this isn't just a problem on the other side of the political spectrum. I say that as a lifelong Democrat. We got too many Democrats who only talk about racial justice when they run for something.
That's right.
Folks who didn't even have criminal justice reform and policing reform on their websites.
That's right.
Before national protests over the past week. It shouldn't take national protests for state legislators to co-sponsor repealing 58.
That's right.
So forgive me if I'm feeling like we need more people in office for whom policy is personal. I looked out onto the field and I saw a sign that says, "Get your foot off of our necks." And it reminded me of something that I think we ought to be talking more about, which is that even before the events of last week, this economy was on the necks of black and brown people in this country.
That's right.
When you have an economic system in which 90% of wealth is concentrated in the white community and only 5% of that wealth is concentrated in the black and Hispanic communities, this economy is on the necks of black and Hispanic people. That's systemic racism. I'm not a professor, but I figured I'd talk a little bit about it today. When you have a property tax funded system of public education, which concentrates tens of billions of more dollars in white communities and deprives public school students of critical educational opportunities. That is a system that has its foot on the necks of black and brown kids all across the United States of America, and right here in New York 17th Congressional District, and I say that as a graduate of the East Ramapo Public School District, my God. Well, we just won a lawsuit under the Voting Rights Act a few weeks ago. So I'm grateful to all of you. Continue to protest. Yes, do it peacefully, but if you're gonna reserve your outrage, please reserve it primarily for the people who are continuing to take unjustifiably black and brown lives all across this country.
That's right.
And understand what James Baldwin meant when he said that to be black and conscious in the United States of America is to be in a constant state of rage. There's nothing wrong with black folks being angry about what has been happening over the past week and over the past several tens of years in this country. So I'm with you always. I would have been with you here, out here, as my record shows, even if I wasn't running for Congress. And I hope that you stand with me. Thank you so much, and keep going on. I'm with you.
Thank you, my dear. Dear friend of mine would like to say a few words too, ladies and gentlemen. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! One more time. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Eileen Warbrand.
Good afternoon, Peekskill.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to change the tone just a little bit. Louder? Okay. Even before we are a thought, we are classified, labeled Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens in Latin is wise man. Literally homo meaning man, and sapien meaning discernible, wise, and sensible. When we enter this world, we arrive dependent upon others into a set of circumstances beyond our control with the innate need to connect, where we learn what discernible, wise, and sensible are, unique to each of us. We have no control over the where and how, and while young, little choice as to how we process it. As we mature, experience informs that process by presenting choices. Our future depends on what we learn in the present and what we know from the past. at present upon us is what educators call a teachable moment, an opportunity to use what is happening and gain from it. This moment in time has taught me that I am a product of my past and that I must recognize and accept that I have adopted tendencies, biases, ideologies, cultural beliefs, influenced by others, and with that recognition, the need to examine them and choose what fits. Female. I have also learned the might of the minuscule. There is a saying, much in little. Perhaps you know it as big things come in small packages. A microbe, invisible to the naked eye, brought the world to its knees. I have learned that the tiniest of things often are, a catalyst for major change. I have learned that what was is subject to. I have learned that what was is subject to forces beyond my control, and I can adapt. I am here because I am responsible for the future and accountable to my past. It is my choice here today to combine the lessons, to adopt the discerning, wise, and sensible, and examine my past, recognize and discard what is not my own. It is my choice to accept the responsibility for the future by seizing the relatively small efforts, like this gathering here, and catalyze it for major change by helping others to do the same. I believe that we are all, each of us, change agents in an historic time. We are experiencing a paradigm shift of epic proportions, and we have a choice, personally and collectively, to allow ourselves to be swept up or embrace and control our direction. Pandora's box has been opened. Yet hope is not all that remains, not for Peekskill. I am proud and humbled to be a resident of this city that has demonstrated we have what it takes. The resources and resilience, the care and compassion, the determination and dedication to meet the challenges. We do not know what the future holds. The demands this crisis will continue to bring for years to come. We do know that we can come together. Let us meet the shift with our want and our will for an ever-improving tomorrow and foster, not fear, the endless possibilities of choice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eileen. So we've reached the mark of 4:30, and I want to do something with you all. But before we do, I have another person coming up. Just wants to say a few quick words, and I think it's necessary that he does. Peekskill Police Department Chief of Police. Donald Holman.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of things we've talked about today talk about what we have in common. A lot of things what we're talking about today talk about what we have in common. But the biggest thing we have in common is that we can do better. Is that we can change and we can improve. Every single one of us. Now, when I came here today,
hold him accountable!
It was about what we want to say. Anyone wants to talk to me afterwards, I'll talk to you. I will talk to anyone here. I'll be the last one here if you want to talk to me. afterwards. But what I want to say is this. I'm not here to give a speech. I'm not here to tell you things you don't want to hear. I'm just here to tell you that we're listening. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to listen. So I want to thank you all for coming. And I want you to know that we are listening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Warren Jones. Warren Jones.
Y'all may not be religious, but I want to say God bless everybody anyway. One thing, I'm looking at that sign, George Floyd, and I'm thinking about 9 minutes. Be ignored. 9 minutes. There was no humanity. His hands was in his pockets. He had a smirk on his face. He can't breathe. The crowd was saying, get up off that man, put him up in the car or something. There was no compassion. Where has America come to where we're comfortable in our wickedness? We're comfortable in no compassion. We're comfortable in no love and caring. George Floyd for 9 minutes was crying for help. But the world now says, George Floyd, we got your back.
That's right.
No more complacency. No more complacency.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I want to send my sincere condolences to George Floyd's family and all of those that we lost. And at this time, depending on where you are, if you could just take a knee, we're going to be quiet in the moment of silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds so we all know exactly how it felt and how long it was for this man to be stuck in that position. We're going to start the time now. Eight minutes left.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
We can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Let him up. Let that man up.
Mama!
7 minutes left.
What are you doing? Get off of that man. You can't breathe. Mommy!
Let that man
You
up.
can't breathe. Can't breathe. Sir, I can't breathe.
This is why we protest. This is why we're in pain. This is why we're in rage.
Someone help.
This is why we scream no justice, no peace. This is why we scream Black Lives Matter.
I can't breathe.
Let him up.
You hear him talking, he must can breathe. Get your knee off my neck.
This is why we've come together.
I can't breathe.
Let this motivate you to do something, people.
You hear him talking, he can
Let this motivate you to do something. 6 minutes left.
He said I can't breathe.
Let each second we lose motivate you to do something when you leave this afternoon. Every voice you've heard, every opinion you've heard. Let this motivate you to do something when you leave this afternoon.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
It'll never happen again.
We can't breathe. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. No peace.
Share your thoughts, people. Whatever you're thinking while you're down now, share your thoughts. Let me breathe. We can do better. We certainly can do better.
We have the humanity.
Please don't let it be my
We
son.
have the humanity.
5 minutes left.
Don't be silent.
Don't be silent.
Chris Malone.
Accountability.
Speak to the ancestors. Enough is enough. Good. My hands is up. Good.
We can make the change. Let this motivate you to do something. While you're down on your knee, let this motivate you to do something when you leave here this afternoon.
For all, not just for some. Freedom and justice for all, not just for some.
4 minutes left.
All men are created equal. Black wealth or else. Black wealth or else. Black wealth or else. We are all human. We just want to go home. We are all human.
This is my house. I'm sleeping like that. Why are you killing
No
me?
peace.
And injustice
No peace.
anywhere.
No peace.
Everywhere.
No peace. No peace.
No racist police! No racist police! No racist police!
Let these last 3 minutes allow you to heal. So when you protest, you can protest with an open mind. Powerful. You can be powerful in your movement when you attack the way you're supposed to. Jeff Deskovich is a prime example of how we can protest going forward. You turn your life around and you go towards the system. You hold the system accountable. You hold your elected officials accountable. You hold your chief of police accountable, but you also hold yourself accountable for doing something. I'm supposed to do something when we leave this rally because I'm the mayor of this city, but you're supposed to do something too. No more excuses. Sitting down here 8 minutes and 46 seconds. If this isn't enough to make you stop making excuses, I don't know what will. We have to heal. You don't have to riot. Step to the system. You don't have to riot. Step to your elected officials. Hold yourself accountable to holding the people in position accountable.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest!
Ladies and gentlemen, in this last minute, I just want to say I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Whether we're Republican, Democrat, black, white, the fact that you are here today, whatever your political views are, the fact that you've come together with me and the rest of my council and the people in this city today shows that we can unify on issues that matter most, and I love you all. We have 30 seconds to heal and change the world when we leave this afternoon.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
We have 20 seconds to heal. It's a new day.
It's a new day!
We We have 10 seconds to heal. 9 seconds to heal. In the name of George Floyd, please stand up and breathe and put your hands up. Put your fist in the air. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! One more time, Black Lives Matter! God bless you all, and God bless one of the greatest cities on earth, Peekskill, New York. Make sure you do something. When you leave here, do something. Thank you. Everybody, please take a look at the artwork in the middle of the football field. Thank you so much. I have 3 more people here to speak this afternoon, for those of you who can stick around for a little while. I also want to say thank the Islamic Center of Peekskill for donating this afternoon. We appreciate you so much. New York Presbyterian Hospital, thank you so much. And Baxter's store right in Main Street, Baxter's Pharmacy as well, for donating. Thank you so much.
I'm going to try to be brief, but listen. Something in America snapped after George Floyd's death. Over the course of 9 minutes, our nation watched a white police officer murder a helpless black man in cold blood, like it was another day on the job. Our nation watched as witnesses pleaded with 4 officers to check George's pulse. We saw their faces, their knees on George's neck and back, and I'm going to try not to cry because it's the most horrible thing to watch. But everyone should watch it. Don't just watch the clip they show you on TV. Watch all 9 minutes. You will feel an aching pain in your soul. But our nation watched with fear and grief an American story that's as old as this nation itself. And so we thought, why should this time be different? Many did not expect it to be, but it is. As the mayor said, this time it is different. Black people who have been fighting the same fight for hundreds of years took to the streets yet again to demand an end to racist police brutality. But this time, Americans, like all of you here, of all races, of all ages, joined them. We joined them, we stood with them, and we took George's death personally. This time, white Americans took responsibility for tolerating these killings, took responsibility for relying on black Americans to bear the burden of making our country safer and more just. We stood together, but together we have to stand firm. As the mayor said, our work is not done. We must eliminate qualified immunity under the law to provide police transparency and accountability. We must end mass incarceration in America and end mandatory minimum sentencing. But we must also address inequality in housing, in transportation, in education, and most urgently, during a pandemic that still rages, that took my colleague Asha's grandfather, health care. Each of us here today, the white people in particular, must commit to doing everything they can to make this country more equitable, more fair, more just. We must commit to justice for George, for Brianna, for Trayvon, for Eric, for Ahmaud. I have all these names memorized, it's insane. I commit to being an anti-racist ally for black people of our community and my country from here on forward.
will one day live up to its founding ideals. Black Lives Matter! Thank you.
Alpha Phi Alpha's over there in the field, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. It's Peekskill in the house. I will say, as I've been to 4 protests and rallies in last week. This is by far the largest, even now, with a bunch of you staying. Thank you very much, Mayor Rainey, Councilwoman McKenzie, and everyone here in the city of Peekskill for having us. I'm at State Assemblyman David Buchwald. It is a pleasure to be with you, except for the fact that I wish we hadn't gone through the last few weeks with Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and so many others that we dedicate ourselves to. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. When those immortal words were said, we learned that at our founding, we both had high ideals as a country and also fell far short of them. We know that we are at our best when we dedicate ourselves to the principle that who you are is a matter of what you have done with yourself and what you have dedicated yourself to, not a matter of your birth. And that is why I will be proud this week as a member of the State Assembly to vote to repeal 50A, the bill that shields police officers from accountability. And when I look back on my State Assembly career, originally I would have thought that my proudest moment might be passing the bill to expose Donald Trump's tax returns, which I sponsored, or the bill to hold corrupt public officials to account and take away their pensions while they sit in jail. But it might well be that my proudest moment occurred in 2014, in my first term in the State Assembly, when I was the only member of the state legislature to vote against a bill that I believe strengthened 50A. The only State Assembly member, the only state senator. And that is something that I will say there were no protests then. But today we are all here because we recognize that change, as the mayor said, must occur now. It cannot wait. And I hope that in Congress they do things. I saw a sign to this effect, that we repeal qualified immunity for those municipalities that have racist police that steal the civil rights and the moral rights of their citizens. And this is my last year in the State Assembly because I am running for Congress, but I sincerely hope that by the time the next Congress convenes in January, that we've done things like end the prison industrial complex of private prisons. We've ended mandatory minimums, that we have ended the practice of having investigations of police killings and shootings investigated by local district attorneys. There should be independent investigators around the entire country. That is what we demand. We demand it now, we demand it tomorrow, we demand it every day until it's done. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Black Lives Matter.
And I have one more speaker, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph Teal. Come on over. Joseph, ladies and gentlemen, clap it up for Joseph, please.
I'm just a long-time resident of Peekskill.
Handle it.
Okay, I'm just a long-time resident of Peekskill. I just wanted to add a couple things under the theme that we've already been discussing as far as unity and working together. I think the brutal treatment of African-American citizens shocked the conscience of any thinking and feeling person. Demonstrations across the nation testify to the pent-up frustrations, grief, and anger, and speak to the long history in this country of violence against people of color. Central to the Black Lives Movement is the belief to work vigorously for black people and, by extension, all people. Today we are gathering to intentionally build a community that is bonded together through a struggle that is meant to actively work to stop racial violence against any person, color, There was an old saying one time that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And I think that if we all come together, that we can be successful. Continuing with that theme, I think sometimes that we need to substitute a W for an I. Because if we take out the I and substitute a W, then we can turn illness into wellness. One of the things that I was thinking about, I think I would be remiss, we heard a lot of comments today, but I have some suggestions on some of the things that we could do. As far as we need to have new policy, procedures, training, and legislation as far as the way it applies to the policing in the city and in the county. We need to define what exactly is criminal behavior for a cop. I mean, right now we have cops, we've been talking about training for the last 20 years, that doesn't really do it. What we need to do is, they need to know that they will be charged as criminals and they will be held responsible for their actions and be charged. Listen, taking a note from one of my younger people, Killer Mike, he said one of the things that we should be doing now is plotting, planning, strategizing, organizing, and mobilizing to have something positive come out of today. Before I go, I'm just going to leave you with this. This comes from Plato. He once said, we can easily forgive a child who's afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when a man or a woman is afraid of the light. And I'll leave you with that.
All right, once again, thank you all so much for attending this afternoon. I hope you leave with something powerful and positive and continue to fight the good fight. Black Lives Matter, ladies and gentlemen. Black Lives Matter. I love you all and God bless you. Get home safe and sound. And continue social distancing and wearing your mask. I appreciate you all coming out here in this weather with a mask on your face. It means a lot. It means a lot. But Black Lives Matter, y'all. God bless.
I'm just a local boy here. I was born on Bay Street in the old hospital, 1940. But I've invested my life here and I love it here. I'm never going to go. They said when some of you kids graduate, some will get far and some of you won't. I guess I never got too far, but I'm proud of being a member of this Peekskill team. And look at these people, they're beautiful. Anyway, I just wanted to play one tune, and that's called Black and Blue. And Louis Armstrong, when he recorded it, one chorus, he says, I'm white inside, but that don't help my case.